for you, just in case you're listening in the background, and then pass the transmission round to you again, George. I think we've gone full circle. G0XEG handing over. Nothing heard this end, George.
No, okay. I'll just take a break. If anyone else around, break. No. Well, a very good morning to you, Peter. Nice to hear you. Yes, I know you're tied up with a lot of family. And, yeah, Douglas, you're okay. I think you and Peter are about 10 over 9 with me. And David's about the same, actually. And, okay, about the flu jab. Yeah, well, I've got a visit tomorrow for a Dracula event. I'm going to ask them when I'm there whether I can have the jab at the same time. But I haven't heard anything about it, but I usually have it. And a great friend of ours had it for years and years, and she always said that she'd never got a seriously bad cold from the time she started having it. So I know some people are very opposed to it. And fine on your height, Peter, on the aerial. Yeah, height is everything, isn't it? On everything, whether you're on a damp marsh on HF or a high hill on VHF. Height is a bit. Yeah, okay. Well, my family have been, one family have been to, South France and Spain the other week. Came back on the ferry, motored down and came back on the ferry, visited friends in the Pyrenees, and the other lad I haven't heard from, well, I say lad, but apart from I said last week, he went to a Chinese wedding, about 320 people he thought there. So, yes, real strange situation, and what mystifies me is the amount of, well, I say amount, it's the wrong word, but the number of butterflies you've seen this all the way through, and even up to this last day or two. And one would have thought, oh, it's far too cold for them, but there we are. Round to you, Douglas, G3MUI, G3LPT in the group.
Yeah, G3LPT in the group, G3MUI. Yes, okay, thanks, George. And good morning to you, Peter. Yeah, well, I seem to have recovered somewhat. Just before 9, when you came on, George, I went to reply to you and pressed to talk, and I got an enormous howl, which is very disconcerting. Anyway, I've reverted to this mic and disconnected the external speaker off the rig, so I'm not quite sure what was happening. I don't think it wasn't coming back from the computer, the loudspeaker. It was coming back from the rig itself, which was a bit disconcerting. Anyway, I'll have to do some checks and see what the problem was. Signal reports, yeah, obviously George and you, Peter, over S9 with me. And David, you're just over S9 on the meter, but I was listening to you on at green, in fact. Okay, yeah, so I've got some technical investigations to do, I think, which is a little bit disconcerting. First thing, I haven't done much on the equipment at all, so why it should suddenly misbehave, I don't know. Peter, yeah, very good on the tree lopping, and getting up a bit higher there. Same sort of thing I had at the previous QTH in Royston. I had tall trees, lime trees at the front of the house, and when had the tree surgeon in to trim them, he climbed up and fixed me some wire around one of the high branches, but unfortunately, eventually, the tree didn't seem to like the wire, and the branch rotted. That's one of the many occasions that the aerial came down. Okay, I'll put it around to you, Peter. G4 PNF, I think. G3 MUI.
Yes, G3 MUI in the group. This is G4 PNF returning. All solid copy from everyone. All very, very good signals this morning. You're all 5 and 9 plus 10 to 20, something like that. All very, very good indeed. Doug, there is just a slight ring on your audio, and by that I mean it's almost like if you're using an amplifier and you turn up with a microphone and you turn the volume up so high that it's just about to feed back, but before it actually starts to feed back, you get that slight sort of ringing. It's just doing that a little bit on peaks with your audio. So I wonder whether there is something going on there. I thought initially it was just the sort of room acoustics of the room that you're talking in, but listening on that last over, and you're pretty strong signal with me, so I can really hear what's going on. To me, it just sounds as though there's some little bit of feedback issue going on there. I wonder whether anybody else would agree with me. I'm not sure about that, but that was my sort of feeling. And anyway, very good signal. And Doug, I hope the 450 ohm ribbon is being of some use to you and is doing you a good service. I wonder whether you've noticed any difference since you've changed your feeder. Yes, I mean I had these tree surgeons here last week to sort of cut the trees back a bit so that the branches wouldn't rub against the wires really, because it was all getting very tangled up in a couple of places. But they sent 3 chaps here in this enormous cherry picker to go right high up in the tree, and one of the chaps on the ground while they were doing it said, he said, I've got nothing to do while they're up there doing that. Is there anything I could do to get your wire up a bit higher? And I thought, oh my goodness me, that's incredible. Somebody being so so sort of helpful like that. He said, I can get up the tree and chuck a bit of string through and get a wire up there. So I said, well, that's brilliant if you could. So that's what he did. He climbed up inside the tree, right up to the top, and he threw a sort of stone with a string on it through the tree. He did it on 2 trees, and managed to get and I gave him some old cable so he could hoist it up there. So I've got some cable going right to the top of the tree as a temporary measure, so that when I get some proper guy rope, I can take the aerial down and then hoist it up to a slightly higher position. So that's what I plan to do. But I was amazed at how helpful they were. But they were here for most of the morning. It was on Tuesday last week, and they've done a pretty good job. But I had to wait about 3 months to get planning permission to do it. So it's been a bit of a slow burn. On to Paul. I think that Paul made his last transmission to me with his TS2000. It actually failed when he keyed up, trying to work me, unfortunately. So it did sound pretty nasty. Just sudden loss of power. Very strange sound as well. So on the audio. So I think he might have done something a little bit a sort of terminal on his PAs there on his TS2000. The flu jab, I had the flu jab a couple of weeks ago, and it made me ill for a week, basically. I started to get a blinding headache just about 8 hours after getting the jab, and I just felt pretty horrible and fluey for a week afterwards. But I do tend to react badly to these things, but it was no exception this time. And I had the shingles jab last week, on Monday last week, and that wasn't so bad. I got a headache the first day, and after that I haven't been too bad, just a little bit, perhaps a little bit fluey, but not too bad. So I do tend to react to these things, but it makes you think, doesn't it? I have very mixed feelings about whether you should do it or not, but then you hear such dire sort of talk about the consequences of getting one of these horrible flus. There's talk about this Australian flu, isn't there, that's particularly nasty, so you sort of think, I bet you better do it. And as far as the shingles is concerned, my father had such bad shingles in his old age, it really spoilt the quality of his life, so I thought I better go for the shingles jab as well. But there you go, seem to have survived it so far. Over to you, and by the way, David, sorry about getting your call sign wrong. I just For some reason, I wanted to put a 3 or a 4 in there. I couldn't sort of equate you with the 0 for some reason. I must have had a bit of a senior moment there, I think. Anyway, G0XCG, this is G4P in the group. This is G4PNF. Over to you, David.
Thank you, Peter, from G0XCG. Yeah, okay. There's a lot of things to reply to, but can I impose on the rest of you for just a moment? John has indicated that he is there. He's only, less than half a mile away from me. I think John's now in a position to join us. So can I ask John, G3ZKZ, if he can join the net? I expect you've heard who's on. Just a break, John.
Yeah, okay, David. G3ZKZ returns to net. Sorry to be late on parade this morning, gentlemen, but I have other things to do besides playing with radios, unfortunately, and I haven't caught up with anything so far. I've just heard about your terrible experiences there with the flu jab there, Douglas. I'm one of those people who's charted it without it, and up to now I haven't had any flu, and hopefully it remains that way. But it certainly don't sound too encouraging listening to the after effects you got from it. But let's hope it's all worthwhile. Anyway, I won't hold it any longer, David, in case anybody else has having problems copying me. They usually do. G0XCG, G3ZKZ.
Super signal.
Well, there we are. There's a report from George as well. He's hearing you okay. From G0XCG returning to the group. Yes, it's fine at this range, John, but, we always joke and say, well, if we open the window, we could shout at each other. So I'm not a good one to give signal reports so close, I think. But good to hear you anyway, and hope you're okay. Well, just going through the things that were mentioned, I got my flu jab by default. I went for another injection altogether, and the girl doing it said, "Have you had your flu jab?" And I said, "No, it's next week." And she said, "Oh, I'll give it to you now." And I said, "Well, my daughter has to bring me anyway these days, so I'll wait and have it with her next week." So is she here this morning? So I said, "Yes, she's out in the reception area talking to some of her old work colleagues." So, oh, right, yes, of course, and she mentioned her name and knew who it was. So she said, "Just don't make a big thing of it, but just go out and ask her to come down here as if she wanted I wanted to talk to her." So I went and fetched my daughter, and we both had our jabs early. So I got that over and done with. And on your audio, Murray, the signals are so good this morning. I could hear I could hear exactly what Peter was talking about. There was a sort of ring, and I think Room Acoustic describes it beautifully. And the other thing it made me think of, Peter, going back to the dark days, in the days when we used valves, you remember when you had a microphonic valve in an audio chain, and you touched the amplifier or knocked it or something like that, and it used to make the blooming valve ring. It sounded just like that, Douglas. It's rather odd, but there we are. That's good. Perfectly good audio otherwise. Yeah, good news on that aerial being raised a couple of feet or so, Peter. That'll be a cracking signal then, because when you first said it, I thought they'd actually they had done it, but you had actually got the aerial up higher as well. But you said you hadn't done that yet. So you were such a good signal. You were the strongest on the net. We look forward to great things on 80 metres there when that goes up a bit higher. I think that covered quickly all the points. Right the way round, G3LPT next on the list from G0XCG in a group.
Anybody else wishing to join us, Break? No? Yeah, all okay. Absolutely first class. And we're getting near our time to what should we say, close down. Yes, all noted, Peter, about the tree, and I've got new neighbours next door, Peter, and they are, not that will make any difference to my radio signals, but it will lessen the chance of my telephone and electric wires being sabotaged by the trees next door. I understand they propose to have some tree surgeons in to do some work at the front there and take those trees down at some stage, young couples next door. But I think some of the other things they'll do themselves round the back. But there is a silver birch there which is over 25 years old, and I understand that they do not, my other neighbour had 4 taken down 3 or 4 years ago, and would you believe one of them, he just read that they were, overgrown their time, and when they came, they looked perfectly okay before they were taken down, and one of them was absolutely rotten inside, much to the amazement of the tree surgeon. So there we are. Everything else, I can't think of anything else to... Yes, well, Peter, with your large family, you've got... yes, my youngest grandson was 15 the other week. 15, so beginning of the month, and the others are zooming along. I think my granddaughter is, although I don't think she finishes her degree course for...
Es war ein Riesenrang auf das Gedöns.
Permanently. It's got to stand up to the wind, and it's got to look... sockets because of digital processing.
I was on with Roger. I hear that, and I could just about hear you, but I couldn't copy what you were saying. But we'll give it another try. Maybe as...
road, 2 mile up the road there I can see. So it's pretty clear.
Comments and see what radios people used to.
So, und wenn jetzt noch Wasser gebraucht wird, dann...
Experience, you can't, which I don't use the cluster, but you can't trust...
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm ready to go also, so I'll give all our listeners a very good morning. Catch you tomorrow morning on our normal frequency, I expect, if it's clear. But the gentleman who was on it, he was blasting in here. So there was no doubt about whether we could go there or not. Okay, but of course it's not our frequency until we QS wide down here. So we'll catch you again tomorrow, and wish you to have... Is it GW3XUE 2W0EDW, over?
From GW4XUE, yeah, okay, David. Yeah, well, the big job I've got for the next couple of days is hoovering up the leaves here, but... Todas. Aí, ó, e como todas.
近海は大変だ、どうぞ。なあ、今年このカスをもとりね、はいはい、イカもとりね、どうなってんだっけ。
I think midweek I saw one forecast of about 30 to 40 miles an hour, or is it kilometers an hour? I'm not sure, but there's certainly going to be a bit of wind midweek, I would think. So more leaves to clear up. That's the unfortunate thing about this time of year, isn't it? But I've got one of these. It's not a blower. We got nowhere to blow it to, so it just sucks up the leaves, and you've got to be very careful because it's quite a powerful machine. It's about 2.5 kilowatts, and you can pick up chip-ins as well if you're not careful. And of course, that's not going to do the impeller any good, is it? At all. And anyway, shreds it all into a bag at the back, and you can just pour that into the border then, which is good. So it works very well. But you've got to be careful, of course, that you don't suck up something you shouldn't. There we are. Well, I'm going to make this my final. Nice talking to you all this morning again. And, well, have a good day, whatever you're doing. And I think it's back now to Will, isn't it? So, with that, I wish you all 73s and regards to the shortwave listeners and all the XYLs, of course. From GW4XUE Clear, back to you there, Will.
Yeah, GW4XUE and the group, diminishing group, then MW0CBD. Okay, Dave. Well, I use the mower to pick the leaves up with me anyway, and because I haven't got one of them things as yet. I know the type of things you mean, but the mower works quite well as far as that goes. So I'm quite happy with that one, doing it at the moment. But the casing on my mower is disappearing quickly with rust. It's cracking all the way around. It will soon be gone beyond repair because of rust, as what I can make out anyway. But there we are. These things happen. They don't last for long, do they? The engine and everything is in good nick, but the framework is going. Okay, I'll say best 73s to all the listeners there, and hope to catch you tomorrow morning there. So who's to take it after me? If there's anybody left, I'm not sure. From MW0CBD, everybody to him still gone. Best 73s all round.
Yeah, it's all the best, Will, and regards to Phyllis, of course. Mike Whiskey 0 CBD from GW4XUE Clear. All the best.
Full David Aganita MW0 come Robo Breathing Clear. Put it up.
Roger, down in southwest Wales.
Very dangerous to transmit with though. The voltages can be very, very high. So I don't think, when I spoke to Dave, I think I was using like 10 watts, but it was 40 metres and the band was open, etc., etc. And Yeah, they are very sharp to tune, so you've only got to move a little bit off your frequency, and you have to retune again, even on receive. There's a huge difference in the signal strength. Anyway, vending machines. I was wondering about vending machines and how they paid for themselves, particularly the ATM. I wrote ATU in the wall, I meant ATM. So, the banks in the wall. And I needed some money the other day, but my eldest came round with a granddaughter, and we didn't have enough to feed them for tea, so he dropped me a beer. We watched the Grand Beer bit together, and we drank our tea. Sorry, we drank our tea, and then decided, what we're going to have for tea then? You want to stay? Oh, yeah, we'll stay. Oh, what we're going to have for tea? Oh, fish and chips. So we hadn't got any money, and not enough to pay for the fish and chips. And then there's a spa shop. This is up on the local, not so salubrious estate. That's the best place to find the fish and chips, isn't it? And there was a nifty-looking spa shop with a bank in the wall for free cash. So
it's not a particular bank that's put it in. It's one of these, XYZ companies, but free cash. How do they make their money? M0SBZ, MW0GYV.
Yeah, in the transaction cost, I guess. MW0GYV, M0SBZ returning. I think it's a bit like what's it called, PayPal and things like that. It's all to do with the cost of the transaction, and everybody gets a bit. Regard to, I'm not sure what a tuned loop receiver would receive only would. I don't know what the benefit would be. I guess the benefit would be that the signals out of interest would be significantly reduced. I'm just looking at my car. I've got a bird on my bird feeder. It's the first one I've seen for a long, long while, and I've got a feeling it's some form of wood tit. I've never seen. Oh, it's gone. No, anyhow. So I'm not sure what the tuned loop would give you. I understand about tuned loops, of course, for transmitting, but you don't need a tuned loop for reception. Not sure what it would give you, other than a lower signal from the frequency that's not of interest, Frank. There must be a reason why LZ1AQ didn't go that path, but I'm not technically minded enough to be able to debate it, really. Right, okay, on the bat receiver, yes. Like me. Well, I haven't lost interest, really. I don't think it was my intention ever to finally build a box of tricks that I could go walking in the country with. I was more interested in the technical side of it, and the microphones and the software, and the analysis software and so on. So it wasn't really my intention to actually build a box and then go hunting for bats, Frank. So my interest really sort of finishes once we've done all the mind experiments with all the microphones and things. Right, okay, so back to you, Frank. G0GSR in the group, M0SBZ.
Okay, G0GSR. Well, I've always wanted a bat receiver for some time now, and I've been going to make one for about the last 3 or 4 years. So this is the furthest I've got with one so far. I've actually ordered a few bits to start with, and I'm looking for a suitable sort of plastic case to put the thing in, which is always my problem. I can never find a suitable case to build stuff into that's any good or I can afford to buy. I just refuse to buy these really expensive cases. Incredible price, some of these things. But yeah, Peter's right about the ATM machines, the third-party ones. Who's actually paying for you to use them? If they're not charging the user a fee to use them, and most of them don't, then where is the profit? Who's paying it, and whose account's it coming from? I can't figure it out. But I'm sure there is there's obviously some profit in doing it, otherwise they wouldn't do it at all, would they? Last time I tried to use a cash machine, I was quite annoyed. I went to my local branch down in the town, and there was somebody before me playing with a machine and wearing a suit, which I didn't think anything of. And he messed around with it for ages, and finally he pulled his card out and he went inside the branch. So I put my card in, and it just sat there, and it kept the card, and it wouldn't spit it out, and it wouldn't do anything. And I thought, oh my God, this is it. It's stolen my card. Anyway, after a long wait, it finally gave me a message on the screen and gave me my card back. So I sort of went in the bank to find out what was happening and get some cash. And this same bloke who'd been playing with the machine had the machine apart. He had the back off this machine that I was playing with, and all the guts were exposed. And I said to him, that's why it doesn't work. And he just sort of ignored me, and he obviously knew it wasn't working, and I was waiting to use it. He never said to me, oh, by the way, don't bother using this, it's broken, or I've actually got it in bits, or I'm working on it, like any normal person might have done. And he just said nothing and walked in the bank, and I thought, you so-and-so. But anyway, moan over. Loops again, yeah, the tuned ones are a lot higher Q. They produce a lot more signal voltage out than an untuned loop. And I think that's why LZ1AQ proposes his untuned ones, because there's no fiddling with them. You just sit and forget them. Whereas with a tuned one, you've got to retune it every few kilohertz every time you move frequency. But with a receive-only loop, I could probably do that with varicap diodes and just a pot inside the shack and just tune for maximum signal. So it wouldn't be any sweat at all, but I wouldn't really want to transmit on it, Peter. I know it's pretty high voltage, but I've got a couple of variable capacitor, receiver type capacitors that I could play with just to see if it's going to work. But that was the next step anyway, but I got sort of diverted onto other things. MW0GYV in the group from G0GSR.
Oh, you'll find it'll work. I found it was very good. I actually transmitted with the loop stuck inside the room with me when I used this thing with Dave, because that was the longest or the furthest I managed to have a two-way QSO with the loop. And in the end, I decided that maybe the RF levels are a bit high, so it's too tempting to increase the power as well. But the voltages get very, very high. Yeah. I cross out high Q. I think if you're really interested in them, the U.S. Army, I think it was, and the U.S. Navy did quite a lot of work on loops, and they were interested in both in transmitting and receiving. So what's that? I don't know what that says there. Something else. So I did wonder about the ATM in the wall. It was always very dubious. It was one of these ones I couldn't tell you who it was supplied by. It wasn't the usual Lloyd's, TSB, whatever it was, Halifax ATM. But, I wanted 50 quid and it gave me 50 quid, and that's what it came out of I always check later on, that's what it took out of my account. So it wasn't me that paid for it. And when you were talking about your little problem, you didn't say what the message was that you got. Was it, you haven't got enough money? Or, bugger off, you're not going to get any today. But it reminded me of the very first time I saw my dad use one. Because we were living up in North East at the time, and we'd gone into Newcastle shopping, and Dad, he had an old gold watch, and he broke the front, the glass on the front. He broke that, and the watch meant something to him. So he went into a place to have it fixed, and they quoted him for it, and he realised he didn't have enough to pay for it. So I said, that's no problem. We'll go to the cash machine. Or what's the cash machine? So, cut the long story short, we went and queued up. There's a chappie in front, and this chap had his card snatched away, and you could see him. He went to grab to pull it out, as it were, and it was gone. It was just sucked away, and he didn't get it back. And then my dad was very concerned about putting his card in. So he put the card in. Of course, as he put it in, the machine, the wheels grab it and pulls it in, and my dad jumped back as well. But he did get his money, so there we go. So on the next round, you have to tell us what was your message that you got. It seems pretty off for the fella to be, the repairman. You say he was dressed in a suit? Oh gosh, that's unusual, isn't it, for a service guy? And then we were working away on it. Oh, I don't know. I'd have thought he'd take the whole. If it was, they can take the whole gubbins out, can't they, and work on it internally. M0SBZ MW0GYV.
Yes, okay, Peter. MW0GYV with G0GSR, M0SPZ returning. Yeah, well, I've never used a cash machine ever. I don't understand the difference between a cash machine and an ATM machine. I think ATM, is it automatic transaction machine? I wonder if you can do anything other than get cash out. Maybe you can do other transactions as well, which would explain why it's called an automatic transaction machine. But I've never used one, and I don't intend to. If I want cash, I just get it at the supermarket when I do my normal shopping, and I don't have that much cash these days. One of the execs that I used to work alongside at GM, he left and went to, is it Delarue? Delarue's the people that print the money and stuff, and they used to do cash machines, and he said that we always get reports of people what he called hitting the jackpot, which meant that the machine had gone wrong and kicked out some money. But he wouldn't tell us. He said you'd be surprised at how often it happens, but he wouldn't divulge anymore because evidently when you go and work for Delarue or companies like that, you have to sign all sorts of non-disclosure stuff as well to try and keep it all secure and safe. I got a feeling they print credit cards as well, or used to. Maybe they don't anymore. I have. I was going to say personal experience, but I better put it in the third party. Somebody I know was down in Somerset visiting their relatives and walked past a cash machine. And as this person walked past the cash machine, some notes came out of it. And this person thought it might be a prank of some sort, so he walked backwards and forwards past this cash machine, and nobody picked up the money. So he picked up the money, and there was 50 quid. And he tells me that he gave some of it to his auntie. G0GSR in the group, M0SPZ.
Well, I never. G0GSR. What a lucky person that man must have been, Dave. I've never made any money out of a machine. Automated teller machine, I think it is what they mean, what they stand for. And I used one not long ago, apart from getting money out, rather than having to go in and queue up or go and buy a load of shopping. You can pay checks into the one that I use as well. And in fact, I think you sent me the last check I paid in, Dave. And they're extremely clever. You don't have to enter anything. They scan the check, and they just ask you to confirm the amount, and you press OK, and then they send you an email with a receipt on it. So it's actually quite a useful machine to have. But the inside of it was actually quite interesting. The whole inside was on runners, and it had extended back, way out of the cabinet. That these things are encased in a secure cabinet, aren't they? And it had extended way out of that, and the guy was working on it. And it had a screen in the back as well, so he could actually see what was going on while he was playing with it. But I didn't hang around to look. But I just couldn't understand why the guy didn't mention it wasn't working. The message he gave me was, Peter, I just put my card in, and it appeared to do nothing. It just kept the card, and I thought, oh my God. And eventually it just said to me, your transaction cannot be completed at this time. So it was just a, generic error message number X6CBAD hex. That kind of generic error message. It doesn't mean much. We don't know what the hell's wrong, but I'm just not working. MW0GYV in the group G0GSR.
You were being spoofed. I reckon the fellow in the machine, he pulled the card out and he gave you back a different one. How would you know? Now, they do all sorts of things, of course. In fact, I think the ATM will do just about everything that you can do at the normal desk. Because even in Bridgend, the main Lloyds Bank, for example, we're getting fewer and fewer clerks at the desk, and they don't want to deal in cash anymore. So they won't accept. With this new pound coin business, they apparently they won't accept cash over the counter, which is crazy, really. But it's a bank. We don't want to deal with money. But yeah, you can look at your account, and as I say, you can pay in checks. You can pay other people and all sorts. I believe you can also charge your mobile phone, although I haven't been successful with that. So there we go. And the great thing is, Dave, it's open 24 hours a day. As long as it's got some stuff in it, some money in it, you can get the money out. So and they're everywhere now. So you might not be able to find a bank very easily, but you can normally find one of these machines to get money out of. And honestly, it won't bite you. M0SPZ MW0GYV.
Yeah, well, I can always find my wallet, and I've usually got a few 20s in the wallet, so but I never use cash. For some reason, I just don't. The only time I need cash is that I found just recently is when I need to feed a parking meter or something. And on that subject, I just went through my. I usually keep a few coins in the car for that very purpose, and I suddenly realised I've probably got some old pound coins in there. So, and sure enough, there were a couple of pound coins. So I retrieved those just recently, and how did I get rid of them? Oh yeah, I said to the girl at Tesco's, I want to pay for my stuff using these £2 coins as well as, and she worked it out eventually how to do it. But of course, most of the time I pay for everything on a card. But as regards to the ATM automated teller machine, I thought it was automated transaction machine. But yes, never use one, and I don't intend to either. Never trust machines. But yes, this person was very lucky when he walked past this machine. He thought it might have been. What was that program? The hidden joke program. I can't remember now. But one of those spoof programs on the telly. That's what he thought, but it wasn't. And he thought, well, why leave the money there for somebody else to pick up? So he gave some of it to his auntie to pay for his upkeep while he was on holiday. Right, coming up to coffee time, so I'll put it round to you, Frank. Another couple of goes round, and then I think it's time for a cup of coffee. G0GSR with MW0GYV, M0SPZ.
Okay, Dave, G0GSR. You seem to know this person very well, so he must have been a very good friend of yours. But I got a bit of sunshine now. The mist has cleared a little bit. I still see the clouds halfway up the hills, so it's slowly rising up, but a lot better now, and the thermometer is reading 18 degrees, so it is a little bit warmer than it used to be over the last few days. Yeah, we got a stash of pound coins, and my wife had a look yesterday, and for similar purposes, and she found 1 or 2 old pound coins in it, so she snaffled a lot, and we'll get rid of those. But I got some new £10 notes the other day, and was quite surprised to find that they're all plastic now and see-through. They got little windows in them, just like I knew the £5 notes had gone plastic. I've had those in the past, but I've not had one of the new £10 notes until recently. And they're quite smart, I must admit, and looks like they're going to last a few years anyway. MW0GYV in the group from G0GSR.
Yeah, this scruffy ATM in the scruffy little shop window, that spat out brand new tenors, and I paid for my fish and chips with a £10 note. At least I paid for mine and for my son's, as you do, as you probably know all about that, Frank. They don't see. If you lend him, lend us a tenner for a pint, and you don't get any change. It's a very expensive way of going for a pint with your children. That's what I find anyway, particularly with the older boy. The younger one doesn't drink, but there you go. I've written down here, what's a parking meter, Dave? What's a parking meter? Never used a parking meter in my life. Don't intend to. Don't agree with them. And why should I pay to go shopping? M0SPZ MW0GYV.
Well, interestingly enough, my mate Keith came to visit a few days ago, and he said, "Did you know they changed the parking arrangements in your street?" I said, "No." What? He said, "Well, because it used to be permit holders only, or up to 2 hours if you're visiting, and they've taken all those signs down now, and it's permit holders only." And of course, Keith was worried that he was parked there, and they would come and slap a ticket on him. And so I got on the internet and looked up Bedfordshire County Council and finally found that now if I want visitors to come and park outside the house, I have to buy a permit for them. And I thought, this is crazy. But sure enough, and it's interesting because I used to complain about all the moan about all the traffic parking up and down the street, and I had noticed over the past few weeks that there was decidedly less traffic, and I assumed that everybody was going on holiday, had gone abroad or something, and parked their car at the Heathrow. But I've got a feeling it's more to do with the fact that everybody has to pay now to park in the street, irrespective of whether you're there for 5 minutes or all day. And I sent away for a book of parking permits, 25 permits for 30 quid, so that I can issue one of these things out when I have a visitor. Say, look, you parked, so you better go and slap a ticket on the car to prove that you've got permission to park there. When I first heard about it, I thought, that's crazy, but it has actually reduced the amount of illegal parking. Now, when I get my yearly permit, and I just renew that over the internet. But anybody that comes to visit me now needs they need to pay for the privilege. G0GSR MW0GYV M0SBZ.
G0GSR. So this book of 25 permits, Dave, have you had to buy those?
Yeah. I haven't got it yet. I sent away for it the same day that I posted your light. So, and I haven't had a response yet, so I'm getting a bit worried about that. Maybe I should have to visit that post box in Tring and make sure the letters aren't stuck to the side, Frank, Roger.
Yeah, okay, G0GSR. So a tradesman visiting anybody on your street would be reliant on the householder having these spare permits, Dave, over?
Yeah. Oh well, there's other ways of doing it. You can use your phone and phone up. I think it's called Ringo or something, and you can debit. You can pay for it by credit card using your mobile phone. But no way will I ever do any transaction that involves credit cards or debit cards over a mobile phone network, Frank. So yeah, I think that those guys can access it that way. But I think you have to pay for a day's parking, irrespective of how long you're going to be there. So, but I haven't heard anybody complaining yet. But equally, I haven't got my book of parking permits. Back to you.
I suppose that's very generous of you to get that book of parking permits, isn't it? So that anybody who visits you can park. Well, they wouldn't have to pay, would they? But I really don't like this business of paying to park on the street. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Where my daughter lives in Plymouth, they're just about to introduce that system. At the moment, it's a very busy street. It's a one-way street, quite a narrow road, and there are cars parked along both sides of it. And it's a street where some houses have been divided into flats as well, so that they've got the potential of having more than one car, and it's always really busy down there. And they're proposing to introduce this permit system as well. So my wife is going to have to buy a permit if she wants to go and visit our daughter and park our car outside her house. It just doesn't seem right to me the way these councils are making money out of this. Anyway, Right, anyway, I think I've just about said as much as I've got here. The sun's out at the moment, so it's brightened up a little bit. So that's nice to see. W0GYV in the group G0GSR.
Well, I'm with you, Frank. I won't pay to park to go shopping. I mean, why should you pay to go and spend your money? It just doesn't make sense. We paid for the roads in the first place from taxes, and we pay it where we were paying a road fund licence. I say that with loudly because it wasn't a taxation, it was a road fund licence, and so on and so forth. I mean, I realise in some areas it's becoming very difficult, in the cities, for example, and I can understand that a little bit, but not in small places. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I spit bullets. It's getting bad with things like rubbish. I mean, the council now, you pay your council tax, and part of that is for the rubbish collection. And then unilaterally they decide that they're not going to collect your rubbish every week, they're going to collect every 2 or 3 weeks. And they seem to be, having a laugh. I mean, it's a little bit like charging you more and more for less and less. So I've never paid in Bridgend. I mean, we can walk down, it's less than a mile down to town, so we walk in. And the way we go in, there's one particular road, and it's always busy. It's always parked full of cars, and these are the shopkeepers and the shop workers who won't go and pay for working in the town. And maybe the shop should provide enough parking for them. But I would argue that if a street becomes overcrowded with cars parking there, then that's what yellow lines are for. And perhaps the police and the parking wardens should properly police the roads. I mean, that seems to have gone to hell in a basket. But I don't know. What have I written give it away for? Give it away. I don't know. Take it away. No, where my mum lives, she lives in Redditch, and that used to be free parking, and they're charging more and more and there's nothing in the town, because, I mean, if you want Tesco's or Sainsbury's or something like that, it's all out of town and B&Q, and they've got humongous car parks. And, give it away, I know what that means. Hospitals, I mean, the car parks, the hospitals, we paid for those, and then suddenly, we in Bridgend, they gave the parking contract to one of these fly-by-night companies, and you have to start paying for parking. And then the Welsh government decreed that it wasn't correct. So, but it took them ages to get the licence back. So in the meantime, people were complaining about the parking costs, and the argument was that they were providing security and better parking facility, which was total rubbish. They didn't do anything. I mean, the man used to go around and look for people who hadn't put tickets on their cars. And then all the motorway services and rest areas, we paid for those. And now there's big signs on them. You can't leave your car there for more than a certain time unless you pay XYZ to somebody. No idea who's taking the money at what they're using it for. What's the bloody difference? You go on the continent and these rest areas are there for people to rest on their journeys, where the trucks pull in, and they're much better for serviced and so on. I don't know. Where's it all leading to? Everything's being commercialised. Gosh, you'll be having to be charged for all your programs through the computers next. M0SBZMW0GYV.
Yeah, Roger. It's what is it? Cash cow, is it? Motorists, they've got you by the short and curlies, really. If you want to park your car and there's nowhere to park, then you have to pay, don't you? Or try and park it half up in somebody's garden and risk getting clamped. Oh dear. Anyhow, all the very best to both of you. Thanks for a good chat, and we'll carry on with the Grumpy Old Men's Network tomorrow. Cheerio to G0GSR and MW0GYV, and our good friend Daz in Brisbane, and also David in Leeds. I see you're there as well, David. Very good morning to everybody. Mike 0, Sierra Bravo Zulu, now off and clear. Bye-bye.
Yeah, okay, Dave, G0GSR. Yeah, hospital parking, Daz was telling me they're quite expensive in Australia as well. They were charging them $38 per day. And it must be something similar here. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Anyway, cheers for now. Have a nice day from G0GSR.
Yeah, cheers. I think the best one's the airport car parking, especially if you're going to pick somebody up. If the airplane's delayed, you get to pay more. This seems to be completely wrong. Anyway, cheers, chaps. MW0GYV.
Yeah, it is, Peter. I've got a solution to that. I sort of park, 4 or 5 miles away from the airport, and I wait for the phone call when the plane's landed and they're collecting the luggage. Then I can just drive straight through. Cheers for now, G0GSR.
Seems a good one, Frank. Cheers.
Meters, not feet, meters long, which runs round
signal, as you described, Phil.
which we use as our main
creeping forward, a couple of feet at a time, for nearly 3/4 an hour. I was going hairless there. And it took it was forever, and so I wasn't going to be that early going to rally anyway, and so but by the time all that happened and eventually got up there, I was quite late, and I wasn't there more than an hour, and they started to pack, and they were packing it up, so at the Capitol, when I left the place, I drove about a 1/4 of a mile at the most down the road, and what do I hit? Another traffic jam. It was about 1.5 miles from there down to the motorway, and that was solid, and roadworks around the roundabout adjacent to the motorway, and that took me about half an hour to get that mile and a half. So I was not a happy bear at all. But anyway, on the way back, of course, I had to pass near Cardiff, so I popped in and to see Dennis, GW4XKE, and I spent an hour with Dennis there, which was very nice, because I don't get to see him often, once a year now. Maybe if I go to Blackwood, I'll go there. Other than that, I don't go to Cardiff, But it was nice to pop in and see Dennis there, and we had a little chat, and went into the shack and looked around there. Oh, and by the way, I sent a message to membership secretary, wasn't it? Yeah, no, it wasn't membership, it was membership secretary, because Dennis appears to be not getting our emails anymore for some months now. Though he's had a new computer and everything's been changed over onto that, but I think somehow he's lost the contact with the RSARS net. So I sent a message in anyway from his computer saying to reinstate him, so I hope that will be done before long, but we shall see. Is it John? I was thinking afterwards, is John LRG, who is the IT manager? I might get in touch with him. Anyway, back to you, Brian. M0OIC, GW4PUC.
Whiskey 4, Papa Uniform Charlie, from Mike Zero, Oscar India Charlie. Yes, okay, Ray. Still a good 5 and 9, no problem at all. Well, no, I am the chap that looks after the Google email group. I'm marked down as owner. Of course, Jim, our vice president, Golf 3 Whiskey Golf Mike, he is the actual owner of the Google site, but he's got me as I was originally moderator, but moderator restricted me to certain parts, and I couldn't do everything. And there's a couple of things that needed to be done, so I had to contact Jim. So basically, cut long story short, I'm also joint owner of the Google email group. So any problems, Ray, please pass anyone on to me. I'll check with Dennis. If he's still using the same email address, he should still be signed up, but I'll check that. I've just written it down now. RSARS email group. Dennis, just writing his name against it, and I'll check it as soon as I get the chance this morning when I finished chatting, Ray. So leave it with me. I'll get it sorted out. If he hasn't changed his email address, all I'm going to do is re-add it. But then again, it shouldn't have been knocked out anyway, so I'll check. If I can't sort it, I'll give Dennis a ring direct and find out if he's changed his email address. So there you go, that's okay on that one. Glad you eventually managed to get to the rally. No doubt a lot of the bargains would have gone. Nothing more frustrating, Ray, is that it's stuck in traffic. Not a thing you can do about it apart from sitting there drumming your fingers and cursing. But it's one of those things. Thankfully, I'm not saying this, but I haven't been in one for quite some time, and I don't want to get into one for quite some time either. But there you go. Here's talking about Blackwood. I think it's always Blackwood. I think we used to have a member there, didn't we? Says Charlie Echo Sierra Sierra.
haven't heard him for a long time. I think it might be Silent Key, I'm not quite sure, but he used to call in occasionally, and of course always a pleasant chap to talk to as well. But as I say, I think it could be Silent Key now. Haven't heard him for a long time. Didn't manage to get out to Spurnhead yesterday, which really disappointed me. A couple of health problems, and I didn't really think I could cope with the distance there, and more importantly the distance walking around Spurn. So I gave it a miss, and I did other things yesterday. So I didn't join the chatterbox net. I literally did bugger all yesterday, excuse the term. I did nothing at all yesterday. That sounds better. So that was Sunday out of the road. As I say, we've got the dentist today. One thing I did do last night, I was on 20 metres last night. I remember in Jamaica, Steve, 6 Yankee 5 Sugar Golf Delta, I think that's his call sign from memory. He's now got a P8 set up, so I missed him the day before on CW because when he sent his emails out, he tells us he's on there now, and I didn't read his email until about 4 hours after he sent it, so totally missed it, of course. So I've told him I'll start calling around about the usual time on 14074, which of course is the FT8 frequency. So I was there calling last night and just putting out CQ Mike 0 OIC Italy Oscar 92, which of course is my locator grid, and that was it. And as a reward, I had 2 Americans come back, one from MO. What's MO stand for again? I forget MO, cracking up. One from MO and one from Massachusetts, got him. One JR, a JR6 I think, a Japanese station, and 2 Ukrainians. I wasn't calling for them, I was just hoping that maybe Steve, the chap in Jamaica, would hear me, but obviously he may not have been on. He tends to go mobile with a vertical, so I kept switching over onto the Hustler, but when I switched over the Hustler, the first thing that happened was the Japanese station called me, so I know I'm getting out with the Hustler on 20. So there you go, a couple of nice extras last night, but I think that's all I did yesterday, Ray. But as I say, today, dentist at 12:30, a bit of shopping in Beeston to collect a couple of things from the local pharmacy. On the way back into our local supermarket to get the parsnips. We've run out of frozen parsnips, and I always like those with a decent beard. So I think that's today already organised, Ray. Golf Whiskey 4 PUC from Mike 0 OIC. Hopefully you've got a pile up.
70 OIC, GW4 PUC, okay, Brian, yeah, fine there. I know parsnips, I do like roast parsnips, very, very nice. Yeah, Dennis has, as far as I know, got the same email address, so I don't know what's happening, but I said he's got a new computer a couple of months ago, and perhaps, although he says everything's been passed over to that, perhaps something's gone astray there, I don't know. But anyway, I'm glad anyway, I'm glad you know about it, so there we are. I'm sure it'll be sorted out now. And yeah, the Newport was the name of the place, of course, in Newport. It's the Blackwood Rally, but it's actually just outside on the outskirts of Newport. And there we are. But it's horrendous there, the traffic. And when I drove in through Cardiff and to go to Dennis's, I mean, the traffic in Cardiff was amazing. And it was a Sunday afternoon, you know, but oh God, the roads were chock-a-block. It was really, really not pleasant driving at all, really. And there we are. And oh yeah. Yeah, bugger all, he said. I remember remember the All Creatures Great and Small. There was one of those episodes quite a few years ago now where he was the vet was dealing to a sick cow on his farm with a widow woman and a young child were living alone, and he was I think he was behind this cow with his hand up his backside or something, and this little girl, only about 7 years old, I mean, she looked at him and said, "Hey, it's a bugger this farming, isn't it?" Which really creased me up, you know. "Hey, it's a bugger this farming." So I like that. There we are. There we are. No. There was something else you mentioned I meant to get back to, and it's all gone again. Go, my memory, I'm telling you, it's rubbish. Right, anyway, I seem to have got this signal link up and working okay now, so I'm, you know, doing a bit of PSK there. I haven't managed to sort out RTTY yet, but that'll come, I suppose. There we are, we shall see. Anyway, anybody else out there for the Royal Signals net this morning? This is Golf Whiskey 4, Papa Uniform Charlie, calling CQ Royal Signals, CQ Royal Signals, CQ Royal Signals. Golf Whiskey 4, Papa Uniform Charlie, calling CQ, all signals and listening.
Mike 3, Hotel Juliet Hotel, good morning.
Mike 3, Hotel what comes after the Juliet there? I missed that, unfortunately. Mike 3, Hotel Juliet, question mark, go ahead.
Yeah, the last one is Hotel again. Hotel Juliet Hotel, name is Harry, QTH 10 miles east of Manchester. I'm not a Royal Signals man, but I thought I'd just give you a call over.
Yeah, Roger. Oh, I've got you on hot green there, Harry. Anyway, M3, Hotel Juliet Hotel, from Golf Whiskey 4, Papa Uniform Charlie. Well, good morning, Harry. Nice signal, mate. Probably about a 5 and 8 direct there. And I was fiddling about with hot green, and I switched over and missed that last letter. Anyway, not a problem. Okay, welcome to Royal Signals Net. You're very welcome, mate. There's only a couple of us on at the moment. It doesn't matter. But anyway, there we are. But anyway, my name's Ray, R-A-Y, Ray, short for Raymond, of course, and I'm in Llanelli on the coast of southwest Wales there, Llanelli. And the other member we got on the moment is Brian, M0OIC, down in sunny Chilwell there. So that's M0OIC. That's the score there, Barry. Oh, Harry, I should say, sorry. So let's see how you're copying, Harry. M3HJH, GW4PUC on it.
Yeah, was Ray coming back to me? Anyway, well, I've got the key. Good morning, Ray. Name is Harry, QTH 10 miles east of Manchester. And WX this side, the rain as usual. From M3HJH, go.
Yeah, M3HJH, GW4PUC. Oh, carry on. Manchester rain, yes. You've got a bit of a reputation for that, Harry. Unfortunately, mate, mind you. So have we, to be honest, though. And it's not looking too clever out there. It's not raining at the moment, but it doesn't look too clever, mate. Anyway, there we are. Let's see. Anybody else there for all signals that? GW4PUC listening?
GI4JTF.
GI4JTF, wasn't it? GI4JTF. Another Harry. Good morning, Harry. Hope you're well this morning. Not many of us on at the moment, but there we are. We'll put it straight over to you, Harry. It's just M0OIC and M3HJH. That's it. So, thank you, Harry. GI4JTF, GW4PUC, over.
GI4JTF, Ray, 5 and 8, no problem at all. I've heard so far. We just went down, I think, second with results from RG3 white contest during the weekend started to let the log, so all this automatic log machine, and I've had to redo it several times before it would recognise it. So and the log's been submitted now, so we'll see what happens.
GI4JTF, GW4PUC, okay, Harry. Good luck with that, right? And the report for you is only about 3334 direct, but lovely signal via Hat Green there, Harry. 5 and 9 there, and it's nice and clear this morning, which is nice. So anyway, nice to catch you, and nice to be able to work you with such a clear signal there. Great stuff. Right then. Before I go back to the top, one more call. CQ all signals, Golf Whiskey 4, Papa Uniform Charlie, calling CQ all signals. And listening? No, nothing heard. Right, back up to the top then. Brian, M0OIC from GW4PUC. Hope you're catching the other guys, Brian, over?
Golf Whiskey 4, Papa Uniform Charlie from Mike 0 OIC. Yes, you're still 5 and 9, Ray. Good morning to Harry, number 1, Mike 3, Hotel Juliet Hotel. Good 5-8, Harry. Nice strong signal coming across from Manchester. Must be the damp ground, high. And I think we're going to get up damp ground here as well. The name is Brian, Bravo, Romeo, Yankee, Alpha, November. Brian, QTH to the west of the city of Nottingham, about 6 miles or about 5 miles by crow flight from the city of Nottingham, in between the town of Beeston and the M1 near junction 25. So that's the location. As I say, good 5 and 8, no problem at all, Harry. Nice to hear you. Good audio as well, of course. Good morning, Harry. GI4JTF. Sadly, not quite so strong, Harry. Direct about a 5 and 3. I've only got an S3 of noise. I can hear you, readability 5, but you ain't moving the S3. So 5 and 3 is about what I'm going to give you. But via Stafford, which I've now switched on, because it did fade away on Stafford, you're a good 5-7, so no problems at all that way either. And while we were talking, Ray, I've checked with Dennis, his call sign. I think he's still with IC24net. If he's still with those, I've got his address here in front of me. And he's switched off. He's switched off from emails, because by the looks of it, he hasn't been getting them for quite a while. He switched them off at his end. I can switch them back on again before doing so. I'll give him a ring. But if he's still using the same address, the reason why he's not getting emails, he switched them off. He's still open. He can still post to the group, but he's decided he doesn't want to hear from us. GW4PUC from Mike Zero OIC.
M0 OIC GW4PUC. Okay there, Brian. I wonder. I doubt we did it on purpose. I would imagine. I would imagine that he's done it accidentally somehow. Unless he did it after his wife died. Of course, it may have been he didn't want to be bothered then, but I don't know. But anyway, I'm glad you can look into it, Brian, and sort it out. As I said, it was nice to see him. And getting on a bit now, mind. He's well in his 90s, so but a bit lonely on his own, I think. But so I think he was pleased to see somebody. Anyway, right, let's go down to Harry number 1 then. M3HJH GW4PUC. Over to you, Harry.
Yeah, okay. Everybody coming in okay, but the station in Ireland there, he was very low in the box. So it's just one of them. The station over at I think it's Brian over at Nottingham area. My grandparents lived at a place called Woodthorpe near Nottingham. So I wonder how far that is away from you. Over.
Sorry, say again the location again, please, Harry.
Yeah, I've got you there. Over.
How far away? Sorry. What was the name of your parents' location, please? Over.
Yeah, it was called Woodthorpe. Patterdale Road, Woodthorpe. Over.
Yes, Woodthorpe's about 3 miles away from here, Harry. About 3 miles away. Over.
Yeah, Roger. That's going back a long while. My father and myself, I think I only did it once with him. We travelled from just up the road here, through the night on a tandem, and we went to see grandparents at Woodthorpe. Over. I'd be about, what would I be? I'm about 9-year-old. Over.
Quite a trip on the tandem. I hope you were on the back, Harry. Over.
Roger. Oh, I certainly was. I never did go on the front. And when my father sold it, he said, did I want it? I gave him to me. I said, no. I said, I've done enough on that thing. But, we had some pleasant trips on it. Over.
Yes, Roger on that one. Yes, I'm glad you weren't on the front. Others that age, there's enough daft drivers on the road without putting 9-year-olds in front of tandem, Harry. But I'm sure you'd enjoyed the experience. And, of course, as you've already mentioned it, of course, it's in the memory, which, of course, is the main thing. Harry, back to you.
Yeah. It was a lovely tandem. Royal Enfield. They were quite heavy. But, my father knew whether I were pulling my weight or not. I had toe clips on, and he had toe clips on as well, And, I had to pull my weight even at that age. But, happy times. Yeah, very good. So you're only about 3 miles away from Woodthorpe there. It used to be, I think it was quite a good area at the time, well-to-do people, but the money didn't come my way, that is for sure. Not to bother. I'm only young, and same as I were only about 9-year-old at the time, and I'm 73 now, so it's going back a bit. So we'll swing it back to the chairman from M3HJH.
M3HJH from GW4PUC. Okay, Harry, well, yeah, memory lane, mate. Yeah, that's what it's all about. We get quite nostalgic on this net at times, I tell you that now. but on tandem, well, never been on one, never likely to, I suppose, but there we are. The old days, nothing like them, mate, nothing like them. Anyway, we go over to Harry in Hollywood then, GI4JTF from GW4PUC. How are you, Harry?
GW4PUC, GI4JTF. Yes, running onto watch this morning, still using the big loop. But entering in the competition, I got the cobweb down to readjust some of the wires, and I didn't actually miss it. I mean, normally I get Cyprus does vibration. How Cyprus is moving in Asia always is puzzling me. But I put in a call on 15th, funnily enough, in the afternoon. Thailand and Indonesia called me back, so that called me in Asia. So we had a 10-minute window, that was all, and then they disappeared completely. So I like to try and get the flight confidence. Very rarely get Oceanias in Australia and New Zealand. They look to be about at the right time. Yeah, weather here is dull, dark, dismal, and I wouldn't surprise me if it didn't rain fairly soon. The GW4PU. Oh, by the way, I've noticed the other Harry's about a 3x3 with me at best. I can't really make out much of what he's saying. GW4PUC, GI4JTF.
GI4JTF, GW4PUC. Okay, Harry, and fine on those contacts, mate. Yeah, nice one. Doing well there. And I've had a couple of contacts into Thailand this last month or so. First time for quite a few years. So, they are about. But I said I don't find it easy, but I've done them on CW, so there we are. Anyway, at the bottom of this short list, I think, chaps, it'll probably be my last time round now, because I said we have to be down the hospital by 11, so I'll go down one more time. But before I do, secure all signals, secure all signals, secure all signals. Golf Whiskey 4, Papa Uniform Charlie, calling secure all signals and listening. No, nothing heard, right. Right, guys, I said I saw you have to cut and run, but I really have to make this the last time down now. By the time we get the bottom of the list, I will have to shoot off. So, anyway, M0OIC from GW4PUC. Back to you, Brian, and over.
Golf Whiskey 4, Papa Uniform Charlie from Mike Zero Oscar India Charlie. Yes, many thanks indeed for shorting it this morning, Ray, and best wishes to Mari, of course, and I hope everything goes well at the hospital. And yes, that's the Harry's mention of Thailand and Indonesia. Yes, also had them in the log yesterday on 15 metres wide open yesterday, so I've got Thailand and Indonesia and a few other exotics in there. Peru again. Peru was on. I've already worked them on 17, but they're on 15 yesterday. That was Hans, of course, from Austria. So I worked him, so I've got him on 2 bands. But don't know if you heard me, Harry, but I was on FT8 last night on 20 metres. Our member in Jamaica, Steve, 6 Yankee 5, Golf Delta, is now set up the Foxtrot Tango 8, and he's looking for working it. So I told him I'll put some calls out on 20 metres, which he prefers from Jamaica. And as I was putting my calls out, I was called by 2 Ukrainian stations, 2 American stations, and 1 Japanese station, the JR8, I think it was. So I've got to find out where he was. So 20 metres was wide open last night. Anyway, I know you've got to rush away, Ray, so I won't continue, but thanks indeed for running the net. 73 to all on frequency. As I say, best of luck with Mari at the hospital. Please be listening till the end. Golf Whiskey 4 PUC from Mike Zero OIC.
Yeah, it's M0OIC, GW4PUC. Okay, Brian, mate, and yeah, nice ones there, and yeah, got to shoot off shortly, so I wish you well, mate. Thanks for coming up this morning, and of course, give my regards to Linda there, because she's doing okay there. Anyway, 73's here, and catch you again. Right, Harry, M3HJH from GW4PUC. Harry, nice to get you in the log, mate, but I have to cut and run a bit, so I'll make this my final with you as well. So I wish you all the best, and join us anytime you fancy, Harry, mate. You will always be welcome. M3HJH, GW4PUC.
Yeah, okay, likewise, and you have a good day, and no doubt I'll call in some other time. Cheers and beers.
Yeah, cheers. Cheers, Harry, mate. All the best there. And Harry in sunny Hollywood there. GI4JTF, GW4PUC. Thanks for your company, Harry, mate. Sorry to cut it short, but have to do that. But anyway, not a very good signal on Hack Green with you this morning, Harry, which makes a nice change, mate. GI4JTF, GW4PUC, 73 see you.
GW4PUC, GI4JTF, yeah, from Doctor from the Hollywood. Yeah, well, I've got to go out and do the week shopping now, so it's not one of my favourite occupations, but I either starve or I shop, and starving is the lesser of two evils. Good luck to the hospital, Ray, and hopefully I'll catch you tomorrow morning. GI4JTF QRT.
Yeah, cheers, Harry. All the best, mate. Yeah, hopefully I'll be there tomorrow with a bit of luck. So that's the end of the lollipop as far as I'm concerned, guys. I'll leave it to you guys. And this is Golf Whiskey for Papa Uniform Charlie, closing the short about signals net for the morning, unless you guys want to carry on. 73s all round, any shortwave listeners, and GW4PUC, now QRT.
Just a quickie, Ray, before you go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, 12 metres was wide open yesterday as well. On 12 metres, just quickly as you're rushing off, Egypt, Bulgaria, Israel, Turkey, Thailand, Ghana, Greece, Falkland Islands, Republic of South Africa twice, Canada twice, United States, Burkina Faso. So that was all on 12 metres yesterday. 73.
Oh, God, I hate you. 73 then.
17 metres has been wide open for about 3 weeks. I don't know whether you go on there, but that's been good. 17 and 15. I've not heard much on 12 this way, and 10 shut down, but certainly 15 and 17 has been very good over.
Yes, from Mike 0 OIC to Mike 3 HGH. Yes, 17 metres is my favourite band, Harry. I spend most of my life on 17 metres, but I do check the others. I use a program, not quite sure if you use it, JT Alert, and that's attached to WSJT, where I use Foxtrot Tango 8 digital mode one. I'm not quite sure if you use that one, but I do at the moment. I keep telling people it gets those parts that other modes cannot reach them. I think all those ones I mentioned were on FT8, and that was on the yesterday, the 7th and the 8th. So 7th and 8th, 12 metres was way open, and quite a few managed on 40 metres as well. A bit later, Indonesia, that was at 23:22. I don't go to bed early. 23:22 Zulu, 6th of October, Yankee Echo 6, Yankee Echo, checking my log. First in before on the island North Sumatra in Indonesia, so 40 metres was quite busy. Got Greece and Sardinia on that one as well. But 12 metres, as I say, 12 metres, as you say, is normally quiet and asleep, but I started yesterday, first logged at 7th of October, and the time was 10:31 Zulu, Sugar Uniform 9, that was Egypt, then Bulgaria, then Israel, then Turkey, Thailand, Ghana. I worked Ghana at 11:28 Zulu, then Greece and the Falkland Islands. Bob in Falkland Islands picked up Papa 8, Lima Papa Speaker most days these days. He's also using FT8, that was 11:46. Two Republic of South Africans called me one after another. Zulu Sierra 5 Lima Echo, I've worked him now on 6 bands. And then Canada, Victor Echo 2. They were on 15. The Canadian, United States, Canada, Burkina Faso, they were both, no, I tell a lie, there's the Canada, United States, Canada, they were on 15 metres. I then went back to 12 metres, and it was Burkina Faso, he was on 12 metres. I did no 17 metres at all yesterday or the day before, so must have missed them out. But 17 metres has been good for weeks, as you say, Harry, from Mike 0 RT.
Yes, and then 3HH on the return. Yes, I'm presuming this was on the key, was it? I might be totally wrong, or it might be a digital mode. but you can tell me on your next over. Yeah, Bob and his missus, I've worked them many a time on phone, and Bob and his missus actually came, I think it was last year, they came over, and they were at some radio club somewhere, and I actually worked the club, but I didn't actually speak to Bob or his missus, but they were there at the club, so I passed on my best regards and wished them a nice holiday. Obviously they're back on the Falklands there. Okay, I wish you 7-3. Yes, you certainly work in some good stations there. I only run the 10 watts, and I get a lot of pleasure out of being QRP. And I've worked every state of Australia, including Tasmania, obviously the Falklands, and both islands of New Zealand, and across the west coast, and across to Japan, and up past the what do you call it, up over Iceland and Greenland and such places, over the other side of the Arctic Circle. So I've certainly filled my boots since 2002. So with that, I wish you 7-3. Have a good day, and no doubt we'll hear it again. Comment 3HG, 10 miles east of Rainy, Manchester.
Mike 3HGH from Mike Shiro. Oh, yes, okay, Harry. Well, great, good signal coming across there. Good 5758 still. And yes, well, I was Mike 3OIC when I first started, October 2002. But twice I'd signed in to pay the RAE in 77 and 79. Prior to moving around the world in the army, by the time I got to the exam date, I was in the wrong country, so I had to delay it. In fact, I delayed it right until I finally retired. I was 65 when I finally got my full license. But I went the M3, 2E1, then M0, so that was the program I went. But yes, I always just used my 10 watts as, like you say, it's a challenge, and I enjoyed it. But the station I worked the other day, a Japan station, I've got my log off so I can actually give me his call sign, Japan Golf 8 Foxtrot Whiskey Hotel, Sapporo City in Japan. Not quite sure which island it was on, probably the main one. But he came back to me, and he was only using 500 milliwatts. Not a lot, half a watt. And of course I was using 25. I never used more than 25 watts. And the mode is, if you just put a search in, it's WSJT-X. That's Whiskey Sierra Juliet Tango-X. And the mode is Foxtrot Tango 8. 25 watts is more than sufficient. In fact, a lot of people say 25 watts is too much, but I worked Mexico last week, which I've been trying to get for 10 years, last month. Been trying to get Mexico in the log for 10 years, so I actually didn't up the power of it, and I was using 40 watts for that one out of desperation. But normally 25 watts is my maximum, and in theory 10 to 15 is more than enough. So it's Foxtrot Tango 8 is the mode. It's ideal for a person with 10 watts. Of course, 10 watts will travel a long distance as well, and it is a digital mode, as you say, Harry. Pleasure to speak to you this morning, and I keep thinking about you on that tandem coming across to Nottinghamshire, and of course, happy memories, as you say. Take care. Look forward to catching you again, Harry. Mike 3, Hotel Juliet Hotel, from Mike Shiro, OIC 73.
Yeah, 7-3. Have a good day, and no doubt we'll hook up again sometime. Cheers and beers. Bye-bye.